Good morning and welcome one and all to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Kelly Crocker and I am Minister of Congregational Life here in this community. What a joy it is to welcome all of you here and to welcome our new interim minister, the Reverend Roger Birchhausen. This morning, Roger and I are joined by Linda Warren, Stephen Gregorius, Daniel Carnes, and for the second week in a row, our hymn leader is Jennifer Yancey. As Unitarian Universalists, we listen deeply to where love is calling us, and we act with humility, courage, and compassion in service to justice. In this time of physical distancing, we are creating space together for the community. And we would like to invite you to be a part of our community by joining us in our coffee hour after service. The information will be available on your screen again at the end. In a moment, we will be lighting our chalice, and I hope you will find something to light where you are, either your family's chalice or a candle of some sort. Whatever you choose to light, may the fires of our chalice flames burn brightly throughout our wider community. I invite you now into a time of centering silence, a time for a couple of deep breaths to come fully into this time and this place together. Come to this place, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of learning, all seekers after what is true, what is just, all who seek a community of compassion and welcome.
Come to this place, whoever you are. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times and you're too busy and you don't have time.
Come to this place, whoever you are, lovers of wisdom, lovers of humanity, lovers of beauty.
Come to this place where a love we do not make surrounds us and lifts us and nurtures us.
Come to this place, whoever you are. Ours is not a community of despair, but of hope. Not a place of judging, but of thanksgiving. Not a place of certainty, but of searching.
Come to this place, whoever you are. Come, yet again come. I invite you to join in the chalice lighting words, which come from Betz Wenicky, as Kelly lights the chalice. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us. I invite you to join in our in-gathering hymn today, which is number 188. Come, whoever you are. We'll do this 3 times, first together, and then Jennifer and I will lead it through twice as a round. We invite all of you to rise if you feel like it and are able, and join in singing wherever you are.
Come, yet again come.
Kelly, I'm new here, so I have to ask you, do you always have a telescope in the middle of the auditorium?
Great question. No, we have this telescope here today because our story is about a man named Clyde Tombaugh, whose favorite thing was to spend his evenings looking up at the stars. Each night he would get out his telescope and he would look up into the night sky. And while he looked at the moon and the stars, he wondered about the universe.
I bet he asked a lot of questions, like, does any other planet have life? Are there aliens out there somewhere? If there are they friendly or dangerous? How could we communicate with them? What are they like? How far away are planets and stars? Will anyone ever be able to travel in space?
I bet he wondered about things like, could we live on another planet? What would it be like to walk on the moon? Why does Mars look red? What makes a shooting star streak across the sky? Why do the planets circle around the sun?
I bet you're right, because Clyde was filled with curiosity and questions. The telescope he had wasn't strong enough to give him many answers. He wanted to see more, and he wanted to see things more clearly, so he decided to build his own telescope. He searched his parents' farm for old pieces of machinery that he could use. He painstakingly ground mirrors for their reflective powers. His father let him have a shaft from the car. With these materials, Clyde made himself a powerful telescope. He was a lot handier than I am. Now, he could see a lot of detail when he watched the planets. He drew pictures of what he saw, but he still wanted to know more. So he sent his drawings of Jupiter and Mars to some astronomers. He hoped they would give him some more information. Instead, they were so impressed with his pictures that even though Clyde had not gone to college yet, they offered him a job.
Another scientist, Percival Lowell, was sure that there was another planet farther away from the Earth than Neptune. But so far, no one had been able to find it. Clyde went to New Mexico. He spent every night in an unheated observatory looking through the telescope for Planet X and taking pictures of the sky. Through the long, cold nights, Clyde tried to glimpse a new planet. Finally, when he was 24 years old, Clyde took a photograph of the night sky that showed a strange shifting of light. There was a planet beyond Neptune. He had found Planet X. The new planet was named Pluto, for the Roman god of the underworld. All his life, Clyde loved learning about the universe. Over the years, he discovered more than 100 asteroids, a comet, and a supercluster of galaxies. He thought exploring and learning were so important that he became an astronomy teacher. He helped other people investigate the sky, sometimes using the huge 2-story telescope he built in his own backyard.
And he loved learning so much that he and his wife helped start a Unitarian Universalist church where they lived in New Mexico. Clyde knew that a congregation, like an observatory, could be a very good place for seeking the truth and learning new things. In every way he could, Clyde lived out Albert Einstein's charge that we never stop questioning, that we never lose a holy curiosity.
Now we know that with the newer and stronger telescopes, scientists have decided that Pluto is a dwarf planet. I wonder what Clyde would think about that. I'm sure he would have more questions. Because Clyde knew it's good to make discoveries, it's good to find answers. Most importantly, it's good to keep asking questions. I invite you now into singing our next hymn, which is number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. In these days of missing so many things that would have seemed normal a few months ago, I cannot tell you the joy it is to have Jennifer Yancey in this room and to watch her sing. Thank you, Jen. Our reading today is The Tree of Knowledge from Leanne Mcelroy Langton. I noticed that most of my students were gazing longingly out the window on an unusually beautiful Southern California morning. I paused in my lecture to discover that they were collectively noticing the unusual fruit exploding on the tree just outside our window. What kind of fruit is that? They wondered with more curiosity than they had ever shown for Plato or Rousseau. And so I told them about the pomegranate, how according to the Quran it filled the gardens of paradise, how its image had once adorned the temples of Solomon, how it doomed Persephone to Hades, how it symbolizes prosperity and fertility in Hinduism, how it came here to us, from the Iranian plateaus to Turkey, across the Mediterranean and transported across the oceans by the Spanish conquistadors, how the city of Kandahar, now bombed and ravaged, was once reputed to have the finest pomegranates in the world. I told them that this was my favorite tree. And then we all went outside for a moment to marvel at this tree, just staring for a moment while the wind blew across our faces, a tender caress across the ages, and then the moment was gone. The next day I walked into class, and someone anonymously had placed a single pomegranate on my desk at the front of the class. An altar before 30 students, all newly baptized, the red stain of pomegranate seeds outlining their smiles. This month, we begin our theme for the upcoming year, Becoming. And we begin by noticing how, like the students in that classroom, we come alive when that becoming is filled with curiosity. What kind of fruit is that? They wondered with more curiosity than they had ever shown for Plato or Rousseau. This theme of becoming requires curiosity as we examine all that we are today and all that we hope to be. Research tells us that curious people are mentally and physically healthier, have more fulfilling social relationships, report greater happiness, and experience a greater sense of meaning in their lives. Yet living from a place of curiosity doesn't always come easy. During the past 4.5 months that we have all been home, I have spent a great deal of time worrying. Worrying about school in the fall, about our health every time we venture out, about this community, about our larger world. There's been a whole lot of worry. I worry about the long-term effects of a pandemic on our young. What will they remember from this time? How will this impact them emotionally, socially, now, and in the long term? And what I've noticed about my own 2 children, they don't seem all that worried. What they are is curious. When I'm asking, oh no, now what's going to happen? They seem to be saying, oh wow, I wonder what's going to happen next. They are people of curiosity, as all children are. And I've watched them lean into the unknown, not with apprehension, but with wonder and anticipation. What I've been learning from them is that to be curious is to be open. While I have been letting fear and apprehension and worry shut me down, close me off, they have been allowing curiosity to open them up, open them to new learning, new ways of being and doing, and new possibilities. They have been seeing this time and each new day as an adventure. If we allow it to, curiosity can lead to a sense of adventure, and that can lead us to transformation. I wonder if you have been thinking about transformation these past few months as you watch the world unfolding before us. It does feel like something is being born in this time. That transformation is happening in the world around us, within ourselves, as we hear cries for change in the structures of oppression and marginalization that have upheld generations of injustice. We hope for transformation as we see the suffering and the hardship that has been exacerbated and revealed during this time of pandemic. There is so much right now, and perhaps it feels too much. Perhaps you have felt yourself closing off, shutting down. It is an awful time. And it can also be a time filled with awe. We are in a moment when we are asking new questions about systems and structures, when we are thinking about our place in this liminal time, this time where we're questioning the ways it has always been, and wondering how we can build new ways of being together. Now, as a community, we have been living in this space for 2 years, asking these questions of ourselves and of our life together. And now we have the blessing of welcoming a new person into this space. As Roger joins us, we get to review the work of the past 2 years. We get to keep moving forward with our questions, our wonderings, our commitment, and our hope. When life is challenging and things get hard, we can get anxious, frustrated, tense. How can we regain that child's wonder, that place of curiosity, where we know we're going to stumble while we learn, but we can trust in an unfolding future, where we can know that there will be things that are too big for each of us, but we don't have to fix them alone, where we have every reason to be confident that joy can be present in this day, where we can remember playfulness and curiosity, we can connect with the people around us, and we can have a wild adventure as we go. What in this time do you wonder? What questions do you find yourself living with? What new way of seeing might you discover? How might your explorations change you? May you be blessed this day and always with a holy curiosity, a curiosity born from courage that challenges and changes you, knowing that while we may never find complete answers, the act of questioning, of wondering, of living with curiosity can make us whole.
I am so grateful to be here with you all today. I have long admired this congregation. I have deep admiration and appreciation for my colleague Kelly. And so today is a moment of joy. It's not exactly how I pictured beginning an interim ministry, but I'm still very joyful and look forward to somehow meeting all of you in this coming year. Although curiosity does not kill human beings, like it's supposed to kill cats, it is dangerous. Staying curious and open rather than clinging to certainties and orthodoxies is hard. Whether those orthodoxies are right or left or center. There is so much uncertainty in life, and we're getting clobbered with that fact every day these days. It's a temptation to cling to whatever certainties we can find, like we might cling to a life raft after a shipwreck. The spiritual writer Casey Taggett says that curiosity can bring some soul-harrowing, habit-breaking, sleep-disrupting questions. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty tempted to avoid questions which are soul-harrowing, habit-breaking, and sleep-disrupting. The dilemma is that working through such questions is often the pathway to transformation as individuals and as a community. Curiosity is good not just for science, as we heard in the story, but for living a spiritual life too. And I want to say, you're going to hear me talk a lot this year about living a spiritual life. By that I mean a life that is grounded, centered, and intentional. If you don't like the word spiritual, that's okay. Please substitute something else, like values-centered. It's okay. We Unitarian Universalists have to do lots of translation, even in our own congregations. So as Kelly talked about, the overarching theme this year is becoming. And it's the perfect theme in this third and final year of ministerial transition at FUS. You will continue exploring together what you want FUS to become in this next chapter. That exploration, that discernment will guide you and your search committee as you go about the work of selecting a new minister. Becoming, of course, is also a great theme for this pandemic-induced liminal space we find ourselves in. When the pandemic is finally over, none of us will be the same. We are all in a deep process of becoming something different. It's less clear, but I have more hope than I've had in a while, that we and our society will also be different because of the liminal space we're in since that terrible killing of George Floyd. That atrocity shone a spotlight on systemic racism-caused police brutality in a way that holds out the possibility, perhaps, of change. We'll see if that happens, or if too many of us who are white lapse back into privileged indifference or denial as the rawness of that event fades for us. Hopefully, there will be a this is what we were before, and this is what we are after. Curiosity is also an important tool in all this kind of spiritual work that we do. So I want to talk about a few ways that it can help. First, curiosity can help us get to know others more deeply. I bet we've all met people who don't seem to have a shred of curiosity about our lives. They don't ask us any open questions. They don't seem interested in our backstory, in what makes us tick, and what terrifies us, and what makes our hearts sing. Likely to be a one-sided relationship. Really getting to know someone takes time. It takes back and forth conversation. It takes listening. Well, a great tool for this is a holy curiosity. And of course, it's imperative that our questions come from a compassionate heart, not from a place of an agenda or a malevolent motive or a voyeuristic impulse. Second, a holy curiosity can occur within a congregation. Curious questions of one another about the values and mission of the congregation, about the difference that the congregation wants to make in the world. It's a way of transformation in congregations. For the past 5 years or so, I've worked on the side as a church governance consultant. One of the things I've invited congregational boards to do is to spend a year wrestling with a big, powerful question. And I encourage the boards that I work with to share their ponderings with the congregation to widen the conversation. A powerful question can spark the imagination, and it can sow the seeds for transformation. An example, at Unity Church Unitarian in St. Paul, their board wondered what it might be like if their congregation truly engaged, deeply engaged, with the neighborhood in which it's located. They wondered what would happen if over time they became not a congregation mostly of white people driving from other neighborhoods to the church, but also more thoroughly a congregation of their multicultural neighborhood. Reflecting on that question began a long process which may result in transformation. And finally, a holy curiosity can be a useful tool in the work of anti-racism, anti-oppression, and becoming more skilled at living in our intercultural, multicultural world. One of the foundations of white supremacy is white people talking more than listening. White-splaining, especially white male-splaining, shuts down conversation, it shuts down learning, it slams doors shut. Engaging in conversation with open minds and hearts, asking curious questions, listening more than we speak, these are useful tools for learning and growth and ultimately even transformation if we and the other person feel safe and comfortable in the conversation. It is definitely harder to view someone as other when we know their story, or at least a little bit about it and their experiences. Well, as I start this year with you, I am full of curious questions about FUS. Here's a few. What is your beloved congregation yearning to become in this next chapter? What difference does FUS want to make for individuals within, for Madison, for the world beyond? How can the governance of FUS best reflect its deepest values and beliefs? In what way is the pandemic already beginning to shift things here at FUS? It is clear that for the last 70 years, FUS has, much of its life has centered on this remarkable landmark building. No doubt the building will continue to be a centerpiece post-pandemic. But I'm curious, is there a different sense of FUS's identity after these many months of being virtual? A couple more questions I have. What would it be like if FUS centered Black people, Indigenous people, and people of color in a way that is not tokenism, doesn't ask people of color to do the difficult work for whites, and is not short-lived? How would that change things? And finally, what in FUS's history will help it become a community of greater equity, inclusion, and diversity? What in FUS's history, on the other hand, will work against that? I'll close this morning with an affirmation. Next week, we're going to hear about rough patches in the process of becoming. Ministerial transition, change in general, often are rough patches. I think we can safely say after several months, the global pandemics are rough patches. FUS is being changed in a wide and a deep way. Knowing you from afar and now beginning to know you, get a glimpse up close, I have faith, and this is always hard to hear, but it's true, I have faith that these rough patches will indeed make this congregation stronger. You will emerge from this liminal space with a deeper and more visionary sense of what FUS can become in these next decades. Your future is shining bright with possibilities. I look forward to being part of this journey with you next year.
The offering is our opportunity to remember that we are on this journey together and how important it is to live from a place of generosity. This place of connection and wonder exists because we make it so with our contributions of time, skills, love, laughter, treasure, food. I invite you to join me in giving so that we may continue to have a place that fortifies and challenges us in joyful and difficult times. We've made it easy to give online. If you go to the homepage at fusmadison.org, you will see a link that goes to our offering page. I invite you now into this opportunity to give gratefully with hope for a greater good. will join me now in a moment of meditation. Day by day, month by month, year by year, we are confronted with all that we do not know, that we do not understand, that we do not grasp. This day, may we give thanks for the blessing of being alive and for all that we experience, all the beauty and the wonder which surrounds us. We know there are those among us this day who are heavy with the burden of sadness and grief. May they be granted the courage, wisdom, and fortitude to bear the pain of living. May they feel the prayers of healing that surround them. We know there are those among us who are filled with anger at the injustices so very present in our world. May they be granted, in the name of justice and compassion, the strength and ability to name the wrongs, to continue to call forth the world of our dreaming. And we know there are those who are filled with joy this day. May the gratitude for their great blessings spill out and be shared with those around them. Today we lift up the prayers of our community. We light a candle for the life of John Lewis. May we feel his commitment to the work of justice. May we commit ourselves to carry his faith, his strength, his passion, his cries into our days, our lives, and our work. And we light a candle for our teachers, for the ones who are learning a new way to connect with students and help them learn and succeed, for the ones who are figuring out how to be in a space together safely, for the ones who do not yet know what the future holds. We offer our thanks and our gratitude to all these who nurture, inspire, and care for our children. Web of all, through the seasons of our lives, may we find the courage to reach out in sympathy or in need. May we feel within us the life force that stirs. May the compassion and care we find here among us carry us now and remain with us as we move throughout our days. Blessed be and amen. And I invite you now into our closing hymn, Do You Hear?
In a moment, I will say the words of benediction and then end with the sign of peace, which comes from sign language and looks like this. It has the sense to me of the challenges in life and finding those places of peace and serenity. The words of benediction are adapted from Antonia Bell Delgado. In the days ahead, may we find the courage to revel in the experience of the mystery. May we approach the unknown with excitement, even if we can only muster it a tiny bit. May we celebrate the curiosity that leads to searching. May we meet ourselves along the way and love us unapologetically. We extinguish our chalice, but not the light of hope, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These remain within and among us until we gather again. May you go in peace.